Sir, your voice is not audible, sir.
Hello. Hello, am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so yesterday we have discussed about how to install the Docker. After we installing the Docker, how to create containers out of it. In order to create the containers, how to pull the Docker images from the Docker Hub, and how to rename the Docker containers, how to start and how to stop, and how to enter inside the container, and all these things we have discussed in yesterday's session. Okay, so today we'll discuss another way of creating the containers and creating the Docker images. So far, we have pulled the images from the Docker Hub only, but we did not create any Docker file to create the Docker image. Okay, so there is one more way where we can create the Docker file, and after that, from the Docker file, we can create the Docker image, and then we can create the container. And also, you have created one container and you have executed some commands. Okay, you have installed some packages. Okay, and after that you want to create your own image, Docker image, with your current container, so that if someone wants to utilize the same configuration and same setup as what you are using, then they can use that image to create their own container with the set of packages that are already installed in your machine. Okay, so first we'll see how to create a container that we have already discussed. After that, we'll do some operations in our container. Okay, after that, we'll create one Docker image from that container. Okay, we'll see that now. Okay, so I just checked the status of our Docker. It is in running state, active state only. Okay, so what is the command? Yeah. So let me create one container first. From CentOS, CentOS. With the CentOS, I'm going to create one container, and the container name is, give me any name, guys. We'll take some fruit names. Mango is the container name. Mango underscore C. C stands for container. So we are going to create one container. Container name is mango-c, and it is having the Docker image is CentOS. CentOS is the Docker image. Let me execute this command now. Okay, yeah, the container has created and we are inside the container. let me type ls. Are there any folders available or not? We haven't been in interactive mode, so that is the reason it is coming like this. Okay, so let me enter inside an interactive mode. Okay, so these are the directories and the files that are available in our container. The container name is mango underscore c. Okay, now let me create one folder called test mkds. So just observe, I have created one container and the container name is mango c. In that container, I am installing some packages or I am creating some folders. So see, mkdir space test underscore folder. This is our folder name. Okay, now type ls. Is this folder created? Test underscore folder? Yes, it is created. Now let me create one file. So let me jump inside that. Where am I now? Under test folder. So type ls now to check whether are there any files available or not. So inside this, no files and folders are available. Just now we have created, right? So that is the reason nothing is available. So now let me create one file. Okay. Chart sample file, sample.txt is the file name. So hello is mango container. Okay. Now type ls. Sample.txt is created. So now what we have done, guys, we have created one container first. After that, we have created one directory, and inside that directory, we have created one file. So these are the steps we have done in that container. Okay. Now let me come out of this container. How can I come out of this container? Exit. Okay. Yeah. Now you can check Docker PS active containers. As soon as you are coming out of that container will be in inactive mode only. You will not be, the container still is not in active mode. It will be inactive mode. As long as you are in container, then only it will be active. Okay, so we'll discuss that part as well. So even if we come out of that container, how can we keep that container in active mode? So that is also we will be discussing. Okay, but as of now, just to focus on how to create an image from the container. Now we have created this container. At the time of creating the container, no files and folders, no packages are available. So I have just created one container with CentOS as the operating system. Okay. And the container name is Mango C. In that one, I have done some operations. I have installed some packages. I have created some folders. Now check the container also. Okay. Docker. Our container is there. Okay. Yeah. Now you want to see the differences from your base to your container. So our base OS is Amazon Linux. So the container OS is, what is the container OS? Are you following or not? I am asking a question, guys. Please respond. you guys are having any physically handicapped persons? Like, are you having any hearing problems kind of thing?
Sir, go ahead, sir.
I just asked one question. So what is the OS of our container? That is the question I have asked. You have to be in active mode and you have to keep sending the message in the chat box with your responses.
CentOS, sir.
This is a very simple step. I have been telling from last 5 minutes. I have been explaining the same thing. If you guys are not able to follow these simple things, then how could you survive in the IT industry? Yeah, I'm clearly saying Docker run -name mango c -it CentOS. This CentOS is the Docker image. What this CentOS? This is the OS of our container.
Yes, sir.
If you guys don't have any interest, please don't attend the sessions, okay? If you simply sit and if you do not understand anything, then it is waste of your time only. If you just attend the sessions, you will not learn anything. You will end up learning nothing after 60 days of course. It's waste of time only. 60 hours of time you are wasting yours. Rather attending these sessions, you go and whatever you like. At least you will have some satisfaction.
Sorry, sir. I will respond now.
Be focused, and whenever some question is asked, whether it is right or wrong, type in the chat box, or else you speak up. See, so here we have created one container. The container name is this, okay, and the operating system. That means the Docker image we have used is the CentOS. Okay, so now we have created one container and the container name is this. Inside the container, I have created one folder called test folder, and inside that folder, I have created one file and the file name is this. Inside the file, I have entered some text. Hello, this is a Mango container. So these are the operations I have done in my container. Now, I wanted to create a Docker image from this container. If I only create one more container with this CentOS, where did this CentOS is available? It is available in the Docker Hub. As this is not available in my machine for the first time, I have pulled it from the Docker Hub so that the same copy is available in my EC2 instance also. So as this Docker image is already available in my EC2 instance, I no need to pull it again for the second time onwards. For the very first time, as it is not available in my machine, I will be pulling it from the Docker Hub and I will be keeping it my EC2 machine, and then I will be creating the container. For the second time onwards, I no need to pull it from the Docker Hub. Why? Because it has done already in the first phase, in the first step. Whenever I have created for the very first time, it has already been pulled. So I will directly use this Docker image and I will create it. So whenever I am creating any container from this CentOS, whatever commands are executed at the time of creating the Docker image, those things are available. So just because I have created this container, there is no test folder in it. In the container, test folder is not available. Why? Because while creating the Docker image for the very first time before uploading it to the Docker Hub, this test folder is not available in that machine. Okay, so that is the reason whenever I have created the container, this test folder is not available. Now I have created the test folder. After that, I have created the Docker image from this container so that in the Docker image, now CentOS is available and also test folder details also available. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So now we can see what are the differences that are available. I mean, what kind of changes that are available in this container. So for that, we have to use Docker if and the container name. C stands for change, guys. A means adding. See, C stands for root. In the root directory, we have executed /bin/bash. That is the command we have executed. So that is the reason it is showing C change. If you want to know the documentation, what C stands for, what A stands for, and what D stands for, if you want to know that information, you can go to the documentation which is available on Docker. Okay. So you simply type docker diff command. You will see docs.docker. So this is the complete documentation regarding your Docker. So you can click on this. Here you will see all the commands that are available in the Docker. Okay, so these are the list of commands that are available in Docker. Okay, see Docker diff container name. So if you give this description, A means a file or directory was added. D means a file or directory was deleted. C means a file or directory was changed. Here root is changed because we have executed some commands, and also we have added one folder, test folder. So that is the reason this test folder with A, argument as A, attribute as A, that means test folder is added. Test folder and sample text. In the test folder, sample.txt is added. So that is the meaning of this. Diff command will give you the differences that you have performed on your container after you have created the container from any of the Docker image. Okay. Yeah. So now
Again, sir.
This Docker diff command will give you the differences from your Docker image to container. When you created your CentOS, let me create one more. Instead of Mango, I am giving just man. I am just giving this container now with man_c. Now I am executing this. Okay, the container is created, but I am not going to create any folders or any files. Okay, the content, just a container is created. That's it. I am out of it. Now let me check the differences. See root C. This /bin/bash will be executed. This is the first command we are executing after a terminal is created. So that is the reason it is showing C change. Bash directory is created. Bash history. History means it is a file which will be having all the details. So every time whatever you do, that operation will be recorded in this .bash history file. So whenever you do anything on your Internet Explorer or Google Chrome, so everything will be saved in the history. Yes or no? In the same way, whatever you do every time, so that will be added to this history file. This is hidden file. So that is the reason a dot is appearing in front of the file name. Okay. So now, did I create any files? No. Did I create any folders? No. So that is the reason you can only see this root. Inside the root only this history file will be created. So that is the reason this root folder is changed, and inside that a history file is created. Okay, these two are mandatory things. Even though you haven't done any changes, these two things will be happen. Apart from that, if you create any files and folders, so that details will come here if you execute this command. But earlier, when I have created mango_c container, I have created one file and one folder. So that is the reason you have seen that file detail and folder detail. But for this container, I did not do anything except creating the containers. So that is the reason you can able to see this now. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Got it, sir.
Now let me create a Docker image. This mango_c. This mango_c is our container, right? This container is having CentOS along with one folder. Test folder is there. If I only, so now in this one, this in man_c container, did we have test folder?
No, sir.
No. Why? Because the Docker image we have used is CentOS. In that CentOS, operating system related changes are available. Some OS related predefined packages are available. But whatever the changes as a user I have made, so those changes are not available. Why? Because I haven't updated the Docker image of CentOS with my own details. But here I have created one container, and in that container I have used the CentOS as the Docker image. After that, In my container, I have added my own changes, my own packages I have installed, my own directories I have installed. Now, if I create a image for this container, what things it will have? It will have the details of CentOS along with the changes I have made. What are the changes I have made? So these are the changes I have
Created a
made.
folder.
So these changes are available along with the CentOS if I create a Docker image from this container. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for that, the command is Docker commit and the container name. For which container you want to create the image? What is our container name? Mango underscore C, our container name. And the image name, you have to give an image name, right? The image name is sent underscore test. Okay, so this is the image name I am giving, sent underscore test. Let me execute this now. Okay, it got executed successfully. Okay, now, as of now, there is no image called sent test in our machine. So let me type Docker images. Did you see this sent test now? Okay, when it was created, just 21 seconds ago. Okay. See, are we able to create one
Yes, sir.
image successfully from our container? Earlier, what we have done? We have created the container by pulling the image from Docker Hub. Okay, CentOS is one Docker image that is available in the Docker Hub. From that image, we can able to create the container. Now, what we are doing? Container is created, it is available in our machine. Let's say, from that container, I want to create the image. This is the image. Now, I can use this image to create one more container, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If we want to create any container, what we require? We required one image. Where can we get that image? We can have our own image, or else we can pull the image from the Docker Hub. So now we have created this image. Now let me try to create one container from this image. Okay, the command is same command. Docker run sent underscore test is our image name. Okay, what is our container name? Any name? Apple underscore container is our container name. Okay. Now let me execute this. See, a container is created. Okay, and we are inside the container. Okay, we are inside the container. Let me type. See, we just created the container only, but inside the container, can we able to see this test folder or not? See here, one test folder is there. We just created the container only with the help of the Docker image. We just created one container, but how come this test folder has come?
Because of Docker image.
Because of the Docker image. So one container is there. From that container, we have created one Docker image. Okay. So what the Docker image will have, whatever the container is having, all that information will be available in the container. So the test folder is available in that container, so that details are available in the Docker image. So whenever we create any container from that image, whatever the details are there in that image, with that image only a container will be created. Okay. If I use CentOS as my Docker image, can I get this test folder? If I
Voice
use
is breaking.
only CentOS as my Docker image from the Docker Hub, can I get this test folder?
No, sir.
No,
No,
because this test folder details are not available in the image of CentOS. That is the reason we are not able to get the test folder in our CentOS Docker image. But after doing some operations, if I create a Docker image, whatever the details are there in the container, that details will be available on the Docker image. If I use that Docker image as a root, if I use that Docker image as the source to create my container, then I will get whatever the container is holding. So earlier we have created this test folder and also we have created one file. After that we created the Docker image. So the whatever the files and folders created, those details are available in the Docker image. If I use that Docker image as my source, then if I create a container, all those files and folders will also be available in my new container. If you want, you can check the file as well. Sample.txt cat. The same content, whatever we have added, that is available now. Okay. So any doubts now?
Yes, sir.
This way, we can create an image from any container. The command is docker commit is the command. After that, it follows two instructions. One is the container name and the second one is image name. So that an image will be created. After, once the image is created, you can push this image to Docker Hub. And also, if you give this image to anyone, they can create the container from it. Okay? It's very simple. And what is the other way to create the Docker file?
Pulling it from the Docker Hub.
Yeah, that is the first way, and this is the second way. And the third way is we can create one file with a list of instructions. That file is called as Docker file. After that, from the Docker file, we have to build Docker image. Okay. So now we'll see that how can we do that. So in order to create a Docker file, it is just a file only. Okay. VA space the file name. VA space Docker file. Okay. In that file, we have to use the keywords called from and run. So from is the keyword, guys. Okay. From space, what is the operating system you want? I mean, what is your Docker image? Which Docker image you want to use to create your own container? So that is the meaning of this line. From. Shall we use CentOS? You can give CentOS or you can give cent_test, whatever the image you want, from which image you want to create the container. That details you have to give here along with the keyword from. From CentOS, that means create a Docker image, create a container by using Docker image as CentOS. That is the meaning of this line. After that, in that one, you can run some commands. In that container, you can run some commands. So I am going to run this command. What command? Echo hello all. Okay. I want to create one file. .txt. So what does it mean? Echo hello all test.txt. If I execute this command, what will happen, guys? By default, in the terminal, in the normal terminal, if I execute this echo hello all greater than test.txt, what will happen? A file will be created with the name test.txt, and inside that hello all, this text will be available. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Echo, if I only use echo hello all, what will happen? Just after I click on enter, it will give you the output as hello all only. But instead of that, what I am doing, I am redirecting this output to one of the file. That file name is test.txt. So if you click enter, you will not see anything. Okay, you will see a next line only. But what will happen in the backend? A file will be created with the name test.txt, and inside that, this hello all will be saved. Okay, so that is the meaning of it. You know that. And after that, if you want to execute any commands, you can give. Okay, now this is enough for me, and I am going to save this file now. Now the file is saved. Okay, let me check the file now. Cat see, Docker file is available here. Okay, here the Docker file is available. Okay, we have created one file with some 2 lines of information. Those 2 lines are instructions to create the Docker file. So, sorry, to create the Docker image. From this, we'll see how to check the how to create the Docker image. Now we'll see. Okay, further we have to use the command called build. Okay, so now before that, let me type Docker ps hyphen a. Okay, so these are the list of containers. Okay, so these are the list of images. Now execute the command docker build hyphen p image. This is the image name you want to create. So docker build is used to create the Docker image from the Docker file. What is the image name? Test underscore image. So if I execute this command, an image will be created. What is the image name I am using? Test.image. Here I have given dot. What is the meaning of the dot? If I give dot, that means refer to the current folder. Whenever you give any dot means this folder only. Look in this folder only. Now let me execute this. Successfully built tagged test image. Now let me type Docker images. Test image is there or not? An image is created or not, guys?
Yes, sir.
Created, sir.
So did I mention where to take the Docker file? Here I have just given Docker build test image. This is the image name I have given, and after that I have given only dot. Did I mention anywhere like, okay, this is the Docker file, take that Docker file and follow the instructions? Did I mention that information?
No.
No, sir.
No, sir.
I have mentioned that information. So here dot means search, hey compiler, or hey operating system. Search the file in dot. Dot means here only. I have given the location. This dot means search here only. But I have not provided the file name. Why? Because what is the file name I have used? Docker file. Docker file is the file name. Yes or no? Instead of using, if I don't want to use the Docker file as my file name, if I use some test file, I have created one test file, okay, with the instructions to create the Docker image. And if I execute this command, then it is not going to work. Okay, because see, whenever we want to add or commit any changes in the Git concept, so we have created one file to exclude any files with some proper extension. Dot git ignore is the file name. Okay, in that file name, if we give any extensions, those files will be excluded from all the operations. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
I have 10 files. Out of 10 files, 5 are .java files and 5 are .txt files. I want to only commit the changes for .java only, not .txt. In that case, what I have to do? I have to create one file. That file name is .git ignore. In that one, I have to give the extension of .txt, so that all the .txt files will not be considered for any operations. Yes or no? Instead of that, if I mention those details in, instead of .git ignore, if I give ignore file, will it accept? No, it is not going to accept. Why? Because it will only look the file with .git ignore only, because the operating system will understand If the details are available in this file, then only it will understand. Otherwise, it will not take that. In the same way here also, Docker file is the one predefined file. Okay. If the Docker file, in that file, if you create any instructions, by default, that will be taken as the Docker file. Okay. Now let me create one more file. Okay. VA space a1.txt. Okay. Now I am executing the same commands from CentOS run run Okay. Now also we have created one file with the list of instructions. Now we are considering this as Docker file. Now let me execute Docker build. Okay. Docker build. Okay. What is the image, guys? You can give any image instead of test image. What is our file name now? a1.image. Yeah, a1_image. Now I am giving dot. Okay. Docker build -t, image name is a1.image and a dot. If I enter this dot, what will happen? By default, now let me delete the Docker file from there. Here Docker file is there, right? So if I give this Docker dot, it will take this Docker file as by default. Now let me remove this. What is the command, guys, in order to delete the file?
Doctor name.
Okay. Can we able to see that now? Docker file. So here no Docker file is available. Okay. Now let me build. Instead of test image, you can give any other image. Image, this is just an image name. An image will be created with that name. I am giving a1_image. Why? Because our Docker file name is a1_a1. So where is our file a1.txt? What is this a1.txt? Actually, this a1.txt is our Docker file, which will be having all the instructions to create the Docker image. Ideally, which name we should use? Which name should the recommended way is to use Docker file. For any Docker files, we have to use the name Docker file. That is the recommended way. Recommended way means most followed way. So now let me do this now. Unable to prepare context, unable to evaluate symlinks in a Docker file path, lstat root Docker file, no such file or directory. So whenever I execute this command, what it is looking for? It is looking for this Docker file. If there is a file available with this name, by default, it will take that name as the Docker file and it will create the Docker image. So just because we have created a file with a different name, if I give dot here, in the current directory, it will be looking for Docker file only. Okay, but here there is no such way. There is no such file is available. We have to give one extra parameters.
Sir, it is showing it should be a directory, sir, right? A1.txt is not a directory, sir, right? It is a file.
No, it is. It should take the file only. File as input only. Let me check this once. Docker build icon. See, can we able to create now? Successfully tagged AL image. See, Docker build -t AL image. Dot means look in the current directory. -f stands for file. Okay, so this a1.txt is the file. Look in the current directory for file a1.txt. So that information we have to give if we use other than the standard file name. Okay, now do you guys got the point? Hello.
Yes, sir, got it.
So here, if you only use the standard file name is Docker file. If we give the Docker file, then we no need to give these extra parameters -f a1.txt. So this is the place dot look for Docker file. If the file name is Docker file, then by default, even if you do not give -e of a1.txt. Even if we give that, even if we don't give that, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, it doesn't make any difference if the file name is Docker file. But if the file name is other than Docker file, then we have to add this extra parameters. Okay, look for the file, this one. Look for the file, this one. In where we have to look, dot means in the current of directory only look. If it is created in some other folder, you have to give that folder name here. Instead of dot, we have to give that folder name /tmp or /root or /bin. Wherever you create that file a1.txt, you have to give that path. In this path, the meaning of this command is in this path. In this path means dot /root. Okay, even if you currently we are in root only, so no need to give that again. Okay. Okay. So if you are using any file other than this, you have to mention what is the file name along with the parameter of f. So if you want to know more about this, you can search here. Build. Docker build. See, Docker build options, path and URL. Refer to the options here. See, Docker build this one. If that file is available in some other location, then you have to give the link. Okay, so these are the different options. Docker build -f, Docker files, Docker debug -t, my app debug. Okay, so these are the different options that are available. This is the complete documentation about Docker build. Okay, there are different options also available. If you have time and patience, go through it. So now let me type Docker images. See, A1 image. Is this image created from which file? A1.txt. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
In the a1.txt, I have given the two instructions. One is create from CentOS. CentOS is my operating system. After that, in that container, execute the below command. What is that command? Run command. In the run, I have given one echo command to create one file with some sample text. So those are the
Yes, sir.
instructions available. And from that instructions, I have created one file that is called as Docker file. Once the Docker file is created, from the Docker file, I have created the Docker image. Once the Docker image is available, now what I can do? I can create my own container. Yes or no?
Containers, sir.
So here you can give some any custom. So custom container. Customized in the sense those are user defined things, generally will refer as custom things. Custom things mean that are not delivered, that are added by the user. Those things are called customized things. Customized means if we add any our own specific changes, those changes are called as customizations. Okay, custom. Our container name is custom container IT. What is the image we are going to use now? You can give
A1.
A1 image or test image. You can give anything. A1 underscore
A1 underscore
image. Now a container is created and we are inside the container. Now let me type ls. Can we able to create our own container or not?
Yes, sir.
See, you can see the file also, element.txt. Is this available or not? See, here the file is there.
Yes, sir.
This is Docker file with a different name and the name is a1.txt. This is what we have created at the time of creating the Docker file. So in the Docker file, whatever the commands you have given, those commands are executed or not by default. By default, those are executed. So that is the reason only now you can able to see these files. Did I create this file after creating this container? No.
No.
Just after creating the container only I can able to see this file. How did this come? This has come from the Docker file to Docker image, and from the Docker image to the container. Okay. So this is how you can create your own container with the help of Docker images. In the Docker images also, how can we pull the how can we get the Docker images? Either we can get the Docker images from the Docker Hub, or else we can create our own Docker images. In order to create our own Docker images, there can be two ways. We can create the Docker image from the container, or we can create the Docker image from the Docker file also. Okay, so these are the different ways to create Docker images and different ways to create containers out of Docker images. In order to create a container, we need only one thing, Docker image. How can we get the Docker image? There are two ways. Either we can get it from the Docker Hub, or else we can create our own Docker file, and from the Docker file, we can create the Docker image. Okay?
Okay.
Tomorrow we'll discuss some more topics on build concept. Okay, so how to build the Docker file. This build concepts, few more topics are there to discuss. So today practice this, how to create the Docker file, how to create the Docker image. Practice these things, and we'll discuss remaining topics in tomorrow's session.
Okay. Thank you.